In this video, I'm going to be talking about the 4 ways that you can build massive wealth through investing in real estate. Now, we all know it's a good idea to purchase a house, rent it out. It's pretty standard. I think anybody who grew up with parents who rented the house that they lived in, or even if you didn't, you probably could imagine, if you're renting a house, you know that your hard-earned dollars each month are going toward building somebody else's empire. It's kind of interesting how everybody's so aware of that, but they're not aware that when they work for an employer, they're also building someone else's empire. But anyways, the point of this video is to help you guys not only know the 4 ways of building wealth through real estate, but understand them so that you can, use them when you are doing research on real estate in your areas. Like for me, I want to live all sorts of different places, and that's probably why I haven't been so quick to jump into the real estate game. I own one house and I live in it, but I've had the ability to purchase a second and third house now for about a year, and I just haven't pulled the trigger because I really don't know where I'm going to be in 5 years, and I would like to build a real estate portfolio near where I lower the anchor and build a family. But when I do research, I'm thinking about these 4 ways of building wealth, and it factors in to what neighborhoods that I track and that I pay attention to and that I watch over the years. So number 1 is a very obvious thing, but the renters, the tenants, the family that lives in the house that you own and pays you each month, they're going to pay off the mortgage. So let's just say $250,000 house, you pay $1,500 a month for a 30-year mortgage, and they're paying you $1,800 a month. You're going to take their $1,800 that they got working their jobs at the grocery store or at their 9 to 5 or wherever they work. Maybe they're a drug dealer, however they get their money. You're going to take that money and you're going to pay off the mortgage. So in 30 years, you're going to own the house outright. You're not going to be paying off any debt. You're not going to have any debt. You're going to literally own that house outright. And it's going to be through the tenant's money. You're not going to have used your hard-earned money to own the house. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a lot of people's retirement plan is to just purchase 5 houses and rent them out and get through each month, and then they'll wake up 30 years from now. Maybe they buy them in their 20s or 30s, in their 60s or 70s or 50s. If they bought them in their 20s, they're going to own multiple houses. So that's a pretty obvious way. The second way, I think probably the most popular thing, is the cash flow. So same scenario, $250,000 house, $1,500 a month is what you're paying off the mortgage, and they're paying you $1,800. That's $300 cash flow. So that means you're making $300 profit every single month that goes perfectly. Now, not all months are going to go perfectly as a homeowner, but in theory, you're making $300 cash flow. So that's a beautiful thing too. And then as you can imagine, if you own 10 houses, you're making $3,000 a month cash flow, which is more than some people make working their full-time jobs, which is a beautiful thing because all you had to do is own houses and let people live in them, and they're paying you, not only paying off that mortgage, which is the number 1 way, but number 2, and these are in no particular order, guys, but number 2, the cash flow. So not only are you owning more and more of that house each month, but you're also making a profit, a cash flow each month as well. Now, number 3, this is one that I think a lot of real estate investors on YouTube don't talk about as much, and a lot of investors, I think, might even not take into consideration. But this is something that weighs pretty heavy on me, and this is a box that I would have to check, and I'm going to have to check when I buy my first rental property, if I buy it. But I think it's only a matter of time. I've been putting it off. But anyways, the appreciation. So there's 2 forms of appreciation here, right? It costs you, in 2020, it costs you more to rent that $250,000 house. It's about $1,800, say, in Central Texas where I'm at, maybe $2,000 or so, $1,500 to $2,000 in that range. 10 years ago, in 2010, you probably could have rented that same house for $1,200. So each year that goes by, maybe this year I buy that house $250,000, I rent it out for $1,800. But maybe in the year 2021 or 2022, it's renting for $2,000. And then I wake up one day in 2040 and it's renting for $4,000 a month. Now my mortgage is locked in. If I'm paying $1,500 to the bank, to the lender, to pay off that house, then 25 years from now, I'm going to be paying $1,500 a month. But the rent, I might be able to get $3,000 for it. So that $300 cash flow, when they're paying me $1,800 and I'm paying off the mortgage for $1,500, it might turn into $1,000 cash flow. $1,500 cash flow. So it's pretty awesome. And then, of course, when the house is paid off, it's a massive cash flow for me. You still have to pay property tax, but the cash flow gets bigger and bigger each year. Not only that, but your equity in the house, the amount that you own, right? What the house is worth versus what you owe minus what you owe towards the house, it's going up each year too. So you're getting appreciation in how much you can charge for rent, but then the value of the house is also appreciating too. So many times I will find a house for sale that's dirt cheap in a bad neighborhood and it's super cheap, but it rents for a good amount, right? Because most people in the lower class neighborhoods are renting those houses out. They don't own their house. They have bad credit or they don't make enough income, whatever the case may be. So I could cash flow like $500 to $700 on it day one. But it might give me more peace of mind and I might find it more advantageous to buy a nicer house for $250,000 or $300,000 and rent it for break even, if that makes sense. So maybe I buy a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house for $300,000 in the nice neighborhood in San Antonio, and I rent it out for $2,000 and it costs me $2,000. So there's no cash flow. I'm not making any money today, but I know that house in 10 years will double. Whereas the house in the poor neighborhood is never going to double. Even 30 years from now, it might not double. Now that's just something to consider. But that's really how I think, and that's kind of what I prefer, is to buy nicer houses that are going to appreciate. They're going to have a higher quality tenant, maybe military family that could afford to buy their house, but they're choosing to rent because they know they're not going to be in that city in a couple of years, versus the lower class where people have to rent because they don't pay off their debt on time, and they might not pay you for rent on time, if at all. And then the house might be in worse condition than when you handed it over to them and you have to spend all this money on repairs. So yeah, you're getting a cash flow, but you're losing money long term. So that's the third way you're building wealth, through real estate investing, right? Now the fourth way is phenomenal, and there's 3 things that I highly recommend people educate themselves on, and that is real estate, stock market, and taxes. And there are tremendous tax advantages in investing in real estate, rental properties and commercial real estate and multifamily properties as well. But the biggest thing is you get to report 1/27th of that rental property as a depreciation, as a loss. So some of these guys on YouTube, they make millions of dollars off their courses. They make millions of dollars off of their real estate investing and their YouTube ad rev, but they get to report $10-20 million of real estate that they own against that 1099 income. So even though they're making millions, they're getting to write off millions because they own real estate. Now, it's super bizarre because we all know real estate appreciates over time. No matter what house you're looking at, the value of it today is higher than the value of it 20 years ago, right? So we know it appreciates. Why do you get to report depreciation on your taxes? Well, it really doesn't matter, but I think it's because the government wants to incentivize people to be homeowners and invest in real estate. Why do they want to incentivize you? You have to think about these things. I'm not making a video on that theory right now, but it is interesting and it is the rule, and it's why President Trump doesn't have to pay any taxes, because he owns all this commercial real estate, all these hotels. And I've met so many entrepreneurs that they use real estate so that they don't have to pay as much taxes, because they write so much depreciation and they write so much off through their real estate expenses. They're making money, but on paper they're not making money, so they don't have to pay taxes, and it's helping them build tremendous wealth way quicker and way more efficiently. So those are the 4 ways that you build wealth through investing in real estate. It probably took me months, if not years, to really wrap my mind around all 4 of these. And once you understand that, it'll help you tremendously when you're researching what properties you want to invest in. A lot of young investors, including myself when I was like 19, 20, they just want to get their hands on the cheapest house they possibly can. And there's definitely a lot of pros in that. There's a lot of good reasons to do that. But sometimes you need to be patient, and it might not be as sexy of a play. But get that fundamentally sound, that perfect house in that nice neighborhood, nice school district, nice side of towns, because those appreciation gains are going to be tremendous for you. Whereas being a slumlord might be a little bit, there might be a lot more cons in that, and the reasons that you invest in real estate to get away from working. You might be working more and dealing with more nonsense, just becoming a slumlord. So comment below if you guys have any questions. I know it's kind of an advanced topic. I don't know. I really don't know how old you guys are. So if you're watching this, like, let me know how old you are. Let me know a little bit of background on you if you're in high school or middle school, or you're in college, or you're older, working a career. I'd love to learn a little bit more about the audience on here. I know a lot of y'all come over from TikTok. Before you head out, press the plus button for me. It helps me so much with the YouTube algorithm, guys. I really appreciate it. I look forward to interacting with y'all in the comment sections, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching to the end, guys.